168-pounder in the world.
This is an extremely tough challenge that Canelo is taking on. He's big.
7 inches in height, 8 inches in reach. I mean, that's going to be a lot for Canelo to have to get in the inside.
Is he as effective as super middle? I don't believe he is against a good, solid super middle like myself. I believe if I go in and perform the way I know I can, then no, I'll take him on.
Es mucho riesgo, pero amo los retos porque al final eso es lo que me va a marcar en la historia del boxeo.
There was once Duran, then there was Trinidad, then Cotto, and now there's Canelo.
He's pound for pound, the #1 fighter in the world.
If you come as a pound-for-pound king, you best not miss.
I am here with Eddie Hearn, the promoter of this event. Eddie, you have promoted Callum Smith since the beginning of his professional career. How big a challenge is this for him on Saturday?
Massive challenge, but right place, right time, because this is the challenge that he wants. You know, since he won the World Boxing Super Series, he's been looking for that next challenge. He boxed Hassan and Dam. That was nice because it was at Madison Square Garden in front of a sold-out crowd. Then he boxed John Ryder. He didn't quite get himself up for that fight. Very close fight. And now he gets the ultimate test. So I've never seen a fighter in this kind of surroundings ahead of such a huge moment for them be so calm. He's ice cold, ice cool, and he knows what he's in for on Saturday night. Canelo is the pound-for-pound #1 in boxing, but these are the challenges that he wants, and he's earned the right to take the challenge. #1 in the division, Ring Magazine champion, WBA world title, so he's here out of merit.
You know, you've known for the last couple of months that Canelo wanted to fight on December 19th. Are you surprised that he took on such a significant challenge?
I think the more you get to know Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso, the more you realise, you know, what great mindsets they have, what a great warrior Canelo Alvarez is. Of course, the money is important for all fighters in such a dangerous sport, but genuinely, they're about fighting the best. They're about challenging themselves and the division. And when you look back at the resume of Canelo Alvarez, I guess you sort of turn around and say, okay, well, in 2019, he boxed Daniel Jacobs for his world middleweight title, and then he stepped up 2 divisions to fight Sergey Kovalev for his light heavyweight world title. And in his next fight, he takes on the #1 world champion at 168 pounds. So it's amazing for boxing. Who knows what this whole scenario is going to throw up? You know, the no bigger rivals at the MGM. 12,000 in the Alamo Dome on Saturday, which will feel like 80,000, but still not the normal pizzazz of a Canelo fight week. I think he's enjoyed it. I mean, I saw him weighing in earlier on his check weigh in his silk pajamas. Looked sensational. Probably not one for you and me, Chris,
No.
but, you know, some people can pull it off, some people can't. And,
Speak for yourself.
well, yeah. Well, no, definitely not. But I just think he's so good for boxing, and these fights are so good for boxing. And the great thing about Callum Smith, we said off air just a couple of minutes ago, Callum Smith's here to win. He's not going to do what Sergey Kovalev did and just try and, you know, win it off the jab and see if you can somehow get through 12 rounds and sneak a decision or get close and get the merit. He knows he has to put a dent in Canelo Alvarez. So when he sees the opportunity, he will let his hands go. That also poses a significant danger when you're talking about someone with the head movement and the ability of Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, an incredible fight coming up. Before we get to the main event, though, 7-fight card. The first fighters are ready. Let's go up to Dave Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio, Texas, USA. Live on DAZN in over 200 countries Saturday night. We've got an incredible fight card. They say they saved the best for last. This is our final show of the year, and it is a beauty. Canelo and Smith at the top of the bill, but we've got a big fight card to go through until we get to that fight. It's all being sponsored courtesy of Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, Air Force Reserve, Tecate, the official beer of boxing, Value, Bet Online, AutoZone, and Orange Crush. All bouts on Saturday night will be sanctioned under the auspices of the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. We are set to go with our first weigh-in. It's 4 rounds in the featherweight division. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 7 victories, 5 defeats, 1 draw. He has 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. Please welcome El Galán Javi, Luis Javier Valdez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is a highly decorated amateur ace, 17-time national champion, 2-time amateur world champion. Saturday night, making his much-anticipated professional debut, fighting out of Fresno, California. Introducing Mark Castro. Now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Luis Javier Valdez. 128.8 pounds, 128.8 for Valdez. Now coming to the scale for the very first time as a professional, Mark Castro. 130.6 pounds for Mark Castro. 130.6 for Mark Castro. Castro v. Valdez, 4 rounds, featherweight, San Antonio, Texas.
All right, we are joined here by Mark Castro. And Mark, it's been a long road to this pro debut. You had your first fight canceled back in the spring, a couple more cancellations along the way. How are you feeling going into this one?
I feel excited. I'm positive. The whole 2020, I was remaining positive, and I'm just ready to get this out of the way.
A lot of people have seen you in the amateurs, as I mentioned, a decorated amateur. How would you describe your fighting style?
I feel like in amateurs, I throw a lot of punches, but in the pros, you got to control yourself. You need to sit down on your punches, and I feel like you're going to see a new Mark Castro.
You know, we've seen a lot of young fighters, fighting big fights relatively quickly, whether it is Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. You're obviously just getting started, but when you see those guys who are, just 21, 22 years old fighting for world titles, what do you think about that?
I feel like this generation is a unique one. We're not scared of nobody. We want the big challenges, and we want them quickly.
Well, good luck on Saturday, Mark.
Thank you.
Let's go back up to Dave Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're set to go with our next bout of the evening. 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Now making his way to the stage. Professional record, 9 victories against 3 defeats. He has 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Detroit, Michigan, please welcome Isaiah Swift Hands Jones. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. His professional record thus far perfect. 6 fights. 6 victories, 5 of them coming by way of knockout. Here is a tough and dangerous young prospect fighting out of Houston, Texas, Austin Ammo Williams. Now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah Swift Hands Jones. 157 pounds for Isaiah Jones. And now making his way to the stage, the undefeated Austin Ammo Williams. 159.4 pounds for Austin Ammo Williams. Williams v. Jones, 6 rounds, middleweights. Matchroom Boxing and Canelo Promotions.
We join momentarily by Ammo Williams, one of the better young prospects in all of boxing, with his San Antonio Spurs t-shirt on. Ammo, you are from Houston, but you're back in Texas. Do you have the extra juice fighting in your home state?
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing fighting here. I'm happy to fight at sea level once again. It was tough at Mexico City, but I'm just excited. It's always a great crowd, great electricity when I come back to my city and my state to fight.
Now, what was that experience like? You've mentioned that a couple of times, the difficulties of fighting so high above sea level down in Mexico. What do you take away from that?
I took away from that I can pace however I need to pace. If I need to take it slow, I can take it slow. If I can bring up the pace and, put a lot of pressure on my opponent, I can do that as well. So I just learned the differences between altitudes.
A lot of guys have had difficulties getting fights in 2020. It's the pandemic, but you're going to fight for the third time this year. What's this year been like for you?
The 10-month stint when I was off was very tough, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. But we stayed strong. We always found something to get better at in the gym. I got to thank my coach because he always allowed me to go to the gym and work out with him, even though it was risky. And we just continued to get better through the quarantine.
You're about to enter year 3 of your professional boxing career. What's different about you from when you first started?
I think that I have become a lot more seasoned, not just through my fights, but in the gym. We take risk in sparring. I've been in a ring with so many world champions, and not just once or twice, but through camps. I traveled around the world to get good sparring, and we just always push for more through the fights and through the sparring. So I'm just elevating pretty quick.
Now, you mentioned that good sparring. One of those sparring partners, the guy at the top of the bill, Callum Smith, who's going to face Canelo Alvarez. Tell me about that experience.
It was an amazing experience. I got to feel the European style. He has an amazing jab. I was able to actually have a great sparring session that time because it was his first day back, so he was just getting loose. But I had a great sparring session. I was able to get in the inside and control the sparring session. I think that if he can keep Canelo off of him in this fight, he'll have a big chance. But if he allows him to get on the inside, it'll be a tough night for him.
So play analyst for me for a second. For your post-fight career, handicap this matchup. I mean, Callum Smith has a 7-inch reach advantage. Yeah. How does he keep Canelo Alvarez off him?
The only way that he'll be able to keep Canelo Alvarez off of him is to establish his power and establish his power early. If Canelo gets hit by a couple of his shots, his jabs and his straights, and they're clean and they don't affect him, it's going to be a tough night for Callum Smith because Canelo has the confidence and knows that he's taking the shots from the biggest punchers in the sport like Triple G. And when a fighter like him, who's a predator, who comes to stalk and things like that, if he feels like you can't hurt him, then it's going to be a terrible night for Callum. But if Callum can establish his jab as a deadly punch and his straight as a deadly punch, then I think that he'll make Canelo second guess coming in, and they could keep the fight on the outside a bit more, which would play to the advantage of Callum Smith.
See, I think you got a future as an analyst there, Ammo. But first, good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to show what I can do. I feel like I got a lot to prove, and I'm excited. I've been in this position before in my life where I feel like I got a lot to prove, and it's my time to shine.
You got it. Let's go back up to Dave Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weigh-in continues. Our next contest to weigh in Southpaw versus Southpaw in an 8-round featherweight affair. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 15 victories against 7 defeats. He has 6 wins coming by way of knockout. He's fighting out of Dallas, Texas, El Lobo, Juan, the Wolf, Antonio Lopez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, also a southpaw. He is undefeated as a professional thus far, 7 fights, 7 victories, 3 of them coming by way of knockout. He's the 2018 USA National Golden Glove champion, fighting out of Camden, New Jersey, Raymond Savage Ford. Now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, Juan Antonio Lopez. 129.2 for El Lobo, Juan Antonio Lopez. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated Raymond Savage Ford. 128.6. 128.6 for Raymond Savage Ford. Ford v. Lopez, 8 rounds, featherweight, Saturday night, San Antonio, Texas.
This a hobby.
Killer. All right, we are joined now by Raymond Ford, fighter of the undercard of Canelo Smith on Saturday. Ray, it feels like we just saw you like a month ago. Yeah. How do you feel about this quick turnaround?
I feel great about it. It's a big opportunity for me, and I'm ready to showcase my skills again.
You picked up a knockout in your last fight against Rafael Reyes. That was coming off a decision win over the summer. How did you feel about that last performance?
I mean, it was a great performance. It was a good performance. I could have done a lot of great other things in that fight, like establish my jab a little bit more, do a little more feints. But it was a good performance, and this one we're going to step it up a notch again.
So you're going to step it up a notch, but how quickly or how recently did you find out you were going to have this fight?
About 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Were you in training? Were you still working towards it?
I was in camp with Shakur. I wasn't in my camp, but I was there helping him get ready for his fight, sparring him, and so. And he's a southpaw as well, so that kind of prepared me for this guy because he's a southpaw. So,
you know, we just talked to Mo Williams about his experience training and sparring with Callum Smith, working with a guy like Shakur Stevenson, a skilled fighter, a world champion. What do you take away from that?
I take away a lot of great things. He's a real smart fighter in there. Got a great IQ. I got a great IQ, so we both testing our IQs and our skills, and is making both of us better and step up to another level.
A lot of eyeballs on a fight like this because it is Canelo Alvarez. What are you hoping to show on this night?
Just to show who Ray Savage is. Explosive, speed, the skills, slickness, defense, everything. I'm a different type of fighter, and I want to show that. I'm going to show that Saturday night.
Looking forward to it, Ray. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's go back up to Dave Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to weigh in the chief support for Saturday night's big night of boxing action, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Canelo Promotions, and this bout is in association with Warriors Boxing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBO NABO Heavyweight Championship. Introducing up first to the stage, the challenger. His professional record, 14 victories against 2 defeats. He has 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. Please welcome Julian Fernandez. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, undefeated as a professional, 16 wins, no losses, 1 no contest. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Guantanamo, Cuba, he is the WBC Continental Americas champion and the reigning, defending, undefeated WBO NABO heavyweight champion, Frank, the Cuban Flash, Sanchez. Now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, Julian Fernandez. 209.2 pounds for the challenger, 209.2 for Fernandez. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated Cuban Flash, Frank Sanchez. £229, 229 for Frank Sanchez. Sanchez v. Fernandez, 10 rounds for the WBO NABO Heavyweight Championship.
All right, we're joined now by Frank Sanchez, rising heavyweight contender. Speak to us through an interpreter. Frank, you just fought about a month and a half ago, picking up a knockout win over Brian Howard. Why did you want to come back so quickly?
Ganaste hace poquito por knockout con Brian Wynn. ¿Por qué quieres regresar tan rápidamente?
Pues llegué a regresar rápidamente porque sé que tengo la posibilidad en esta cartelera de seguir mi carrera adelante y nada, y estoy listo para enfrentar grandes cosas.
I came back quickly because I know that I have the possibility to be on this card. So, I have to come back and, confront and do the things that I have to do.
You're part of Team Canelo, training with Eddie Reynoso. What improvements has he made with you?
Eres parte del equipo de Team Canelo con Eddie Reynoso. ¿Qué mejoras ha hecho él con usted?
No, he mejorado mucho en la parte boxística y nada, me siento bien en el team y avanzando poco a poco.
I've had, in my boxing abilities, I've just improved a lot. I'm part of the team, and I've just improved little by little.
You're starting to make a name for yourself in the heavyweight division. That knockout win over Howard was really impressive. What do you hope is in store for you in 2021?
Empezó con la división y el knockout de Howard fue muy impresionante. ¿Qué veo para usted en el 2021?
No, veo grandes cosas. Nada más es seguirle echándoles ganas y mantenerme activo.
I see great things. Just continue, giving it my best and stay active.
All right, you're a heavyweight, but you sparred with Canelo for this training camp. What was it like as a heavyweight to spar with Canelo?
Eres peso completo. Hiciste sparring con Canelo como peso completo. ¿Cómo fue para usted la experiencia de sparring con Canelo?
Buena experiencia y así me enseña muchas cosas y nada, me va avanzando en mi carrera y me va apoyando también.
It was a good experience. It was a good experience that helps me a lot with my profession and also all the support.
Well, Frank, we appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday.
Frank, se lo agradecemos y suerte el sábado.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to bring in Eddie Hearn, the promoter of this event, Matchroom Boxing USA, bringing you back. Eddie, let's start with the challenge that Callum Smith is facing. You're no stranger to having some of your fighters beaten by Canelo Alvarez over the last year, whether it was...
Thanks, Chris.
Sorry, okay. Facts are facts. Rocky Fielding getting stopped by him, then Daniel Jacobs loses a close decision. What does Callum Smith have to do differently? How do you beat this guy?
Well, I thought Amo's
he was good.
Analyst opinion was spot on. I think you need to establish, you've got to put a dent in him. I mean, when you look at the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Rocky Fielding, I think Canelo might box in a similar kind of fashion in this fight. Going to be aggressive, trying to walk him down, but you have to deter him. You have to put him off. You have to show him that you are dangerous. And Callum Smith is incredibly dangerous. He punches very well to the head and body. He's got that beautiful long left hook that can hit you out of range as well. So he has to be competitive in the fight from early on. I think the last thing you want to do is have a rough start against Canelo Alvarez, and it'll be interesting to see the kind of tactics that Canelo adopts. But Joe and Callum have got their own tactics, and Joe Gallagher is a fantastic tactician as well, and he's been there up close before, of course, with Liam Smith. Liam Smith would have spoken to Callum as well and got him prepared for this, and they're very confident, like I said, very calm, very confident. It's about executing the game plan on the night. It's
easy for us to sit here on the outside and say, you got to go for broke against a guy like Canelo. You got to take some chances. But, Fielding didn't have a chance to do that. Sergey Kovalev didn't do that. Even Daniel Jacobs didn't do that. Do you almost have to throw caution to the wind in a way when you face a guy like Canelo?
I think when you have the ability of Callum Smith, no. You do have to be aggressive and you have to take your chances when they represent themselves. But to be honest, as I said earlier, Callum Smith's not here to sort of see how he can do and get through rounds, and he's here to win this fight and, if possible, by knockout. So he'll be looking to take the chances when they represent themselves. To be honest, I think it's going to be a wonderful fight because I think Canelo will be aggressive in this fight. I think Callum Smith will be looking to take his chances. He wants to land. He believes he can hurt Canelo to head and body, so he'll be letting his hands go at the right moment. You don't want to get in there and start panicking and all of a sudden you've got a 3-round firefight. Might be good for DAZN and the viewers, but you're going to see a great fight regardless. I think this fight is going to start fast and get quicker and quicker, and I don't believe this fight will go the distance.
We're looking forward to a good fight. Two great top-level guys facing off in the super-middleweight division, and they are ready to face off on the scale. Let's go back to Dave Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night streamed live on DAZN in over 200 countries around the world by way of the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio, Texas, USA. Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Canelo Promotions are proud to present the main event of the evening. Sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, Air Force Reserve, Tecate, the official beer of boxing, Value, Bet Online, AutoZone, and Orange Crush. Tomorrow night's featured attraction, sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, the World Boxing Council, and the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, two champions will step into the ring to decide who is the kingpin at 168 pounds. It'll be 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBA, WBC, and Ring Magazine Super-Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, let's go ahead and meet the fighters, and let's bring them to the stage so they can step on the scale and face each other. Introducing first, the challenger, making his way to the stage. He's the defending champion. He's with his head trainer, Joe Gallagher. His professional record, 27 victories, no defeats. He has 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from Liverpool, England, he represents a fine family fighting tradition as he is the youngest of the four Fighting Smith brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the winner of the World Boxing Super Series, the Muhammad Ali Trophy, and the reigning, defending, undefeated Ring Magazine and WBA Super Middleweight Champion of the World, Callum Mundo Smith. Smith. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. Tomorrow night, he is the challenger. He's with his head trainer, Eddie Reynoso. His professional record, 53 victories, 1 defeat. He has 2 draws and 36 wins coming by way of knockout. Recognized the world over as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet, he is the 4-division world champion. Damas y caballeros, aquí está el gran campeón de boxeo mexicano, famoso en todo el mundo, presentando el hijo de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez. And now headed to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, the defending champion, Callum Mundo Smith. 168 pounds, 168 even. The super middleweight limit, 168 libras for Callum Smith. And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the scale, the 4-division world champion, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. 168 pounds also, igual, 168 también, 168 libras for Saúl Canelo Alvarez. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, challenger and champion Canelo versus Smith. 12 rounds of boxing for the Super-Middleweight Championship of the World.
All right, we're going to be joined momentarily by Saul Canelo Alvarez, the man many believe to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Canelo, your slogan is no boxing, no life. For the last 13 months, boxing has been taken away from you. What has that experience been like?
No, la verdad es que ha sido lo más difícil. Sé que ha sido muy difícil. Ha sido un año muy difícil para toda la gente, obviamente, ¿no? Para todos por lo que ha pasado, pero pues creo que lo más difícil para mí pues ha sido eso, ¿no? Estar fuera del cuadrilátero tanto tiempo, pero pues hay que adaptarnos a la situación y así es, y así tiene que ser, así que lo más importante es que aquí estamos ya a un día de la pelea y estamos muy contentos.
It's been very difficult. It's been very difficult for everybody. It's been a very difficult year for everybody, and we must adapt. Very difficult for me to not be on the ring. And we are here now, and it's just a day away, so this is a very good thing.
You are the money man in all of boxing. Everyone from 154 pounds to 175 pounds wants to fight you. Why 168 pounds, and why Callum Smith?
No, la verdad, primero, pues obviamente Callum Smith, porque es el número 1 en esa división. Eddie y yo tenemos la meta a corto plazo de ganar todos los títulos en las 168 libras y pues qué mejor que Callum Smith, ¿no? Que es el mejor en esa división y pues por eso, ¿no? Y pues me siento muy bien en este peso, en este momento y vamos a hacer campaña si Dios quiere el próximo año.
Well, because he is #1 in this division in the 168 pounds, and Eddie and I want to unify all the titles at the 168 pounds, and he's the best here. Callum Smith is really good at what he does here, and this is why we're here fighting this fight.
You are no stranger to fighting taller fighters, and recently you fought guys over 6 feet, like a Rocky Fielding, like a Sergey Kovalev. But watching you two on the stage just now, he's probably the biggest and strongest fighter of your professional career. What's the key to winning a fight like this?
Sí, no, la verdad que es un peleador totalmente diferente a todos los que he peleado. Es un gran peleador, un peleador pues alto, ya lo dijiste. Pero pues sé, ¿no? Las capacidades que tiene y sé las capacidades que tengo también. Sé que mi experiencia, mis capacidades boxísticas pueden con eso y más. Y sé que va a ser una gran pelea. Sé las habilidades que tiene, pero estamos listos para este gran reto.
I know he's a tall fighter. I know he's a strong fighter. He's a very good fighter. He has very good qualities. I, too, have very good qualities. And I know it's going to be a great fight, a difficult fight, but a very good fight that we're going to put on.
You smiled a little bit when I pointed out his size. You obviously don't think size in this fight is going to matter all that much.
No, la verdad que pues ya con la experiencia que tengo, para mí no significa nada la estatura. Si es más alto, si es más bajo que yo, para mí no significa mucho.
Well, with the experience that I have, reality is that if they're taller, shorter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean much to me due to my experience.
Yeah, a lot of experience, more coming on Saturday. Canelo, appreciate your time.
No, gracias a ti.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to bring in Callum Smith, the 168-pound champion. His WBA title is going to be on the line on Saturday, and the WBC belt. Callum, you've been chasing that WBC belt for a while as well. Before we get to Canelo, how does it feel to be in position to unify the 168-pound division?
Yeah, it feels great. I've been saying all week, these are the fights I want to be involved in, and I want to become world champion, set myself new goals, and it was always to unify the division. I've been asking for the unification fight since becoming a world champion, and now finally got one. It's ticked both boxes. It's a fight against a superstar name, and it's a fight and a chance to unify the division, which is something I've always wanted.
You heard Canelo just say he doesn't believe that size is going to matter in this fight. How do you make size matter?
Yeah, I've got to just use... Size doesn't really matter if you haven't got the skills and not the ability to use it. I've got to fight to my strengths. Together with my team, we've got good tactics. I know the fight's not going to be at my distance for the full 12 rounds, but I've got to be able to fight whatever way the fight comes. I'm prepared for. Canelo's shown he can fight going forwards, going backwards. I've shown I can do that myself. So it's an exciting one. It's two really good fighters going up against each other, and it excites me. I'm sure it excites the fans, and I'm looking forward to getting in there.
I asked Eddie Hearn this, so I'll ask you. We've seen fighters, because of Canelo's speed, his body attack, they don't take a lot of chances sometimes in the ring against him. Do you have to do that in a fight like this in order to win?
Yeah, I've just got to do what I do. I've got to dominate. I've got to try and be the better fighter in there, which I believe I am. I'm a world champion. I've got to go in and treat him like the 27 previous opponents. Go in and the best version of me beats him. I can't worry too much about what he's good at and what he does. Obviously, we're aware of what he's good at and we've worked on trying to stop him getting his strengths off. But first and foremost, it's to make sure the best version of me is on the night and let him deal with me, let him worry about my style. My style is my ability, and I'm sure we're in for a great fight.
There's a lot of reasons for you to be excited about a fight like this, but maybe among them, your brother Liam lost to Canelo several years ago. He is here in San Antonio for this fight. How useful has he been in preparations for a fight like this, and does it give you any extra juice to fight a guy that beat your brother?
Yeah, a little bit, but he's been great in this camp. Obviously, you can watch every single one of Canelo's fights, and it'll be a little bit different when you get in there. I'm expecting that. But he's been there and done. He's been there, shared the ring with him. So little things you see up close that he tries to set you up for, and little bits that he feels that I'll be able to capitalise on. He's been a great asset in this camp, which he has for every camp, but this camp a little bit more. So he's been a good person to pick his brains of someone who's actually been there and done it.
You'll be in there and done it tomorrow night. Saturday, huge event. Good luck on Saturday, Callum.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Callum Smith and Canelo Alvarez is part of a massive weekend here on DAZN. Beginning on Friday, Gennady Golovkin, he will defend his version of the middleweight title against Kamil Szeremeta. You can watch that on DAZN. And then Saturday, Canelo Alvarez against Callum Smith, 168-pound supremacy. 2 titles on the line in a fight like that, and Canelo's chance to prove once again that he is the top fighter in all of boxing. Then on January 2nd, another big test. Ryan Garcia, one of the brightest young stars in all of boxing, 135-pound contender. He is going to face the toughest challenge of his career when he takes on former title challenger Luke Campbell. That fight can be seen live on DAZN. A lot to get to over the next couple of weeks, but the big one, Canelo, Callum Smith, 168 pounds, a tough test for Canelo. Canelo Alvarez will fight Callum Smith on December 19th in what is arguably the toughest fight he can possibly get in.
He is the top 168-pounder in the world.
This is an extremely tough challenge that Canelo is taking on. He's big.
7 inches in height, 8 inches in reach. I mean, that's going to be a lot for Canelo to have to get in the inside.
Is he as effective as super middle? I don't believe he is against a good, solid super middle like myself. I believe if I go in and perform the way I know I can, then I'll take him out.
Es mucho riesgo, pero amo los retos porque al final eso es lo que me va a marcar en la historia del boxeo.
There was once Duran, then there was Turner, then Cotto, and now there is Canelo.
He's pound for pound, the #1 fighter in the world.
If you come as a pound-for-pound king, you best not miss.